and thanks for staying with us. The Gowon Customs Command has handed over drugs to NDLA in the state. Also on Customs reports, CG speaks on B. Odogu in Tinkan and Apapa Port, plus more report. I am Igiseme Itinye. Stay tuned. The custom management has continued to generate more revenue for the country. The Controller General of Customs launched B. Odogu in Apapa and Tinkan Island Port in Lagos. Customs is a testimony of the fact that over the last 1 year, we have tried to put the public, we've tried to put our stakeholders at the heart of what we are trying to do. And this is one of those efforts to ensure that we remain consistently of service to all our stakeholders, to provide cost-effective service, something that impacts, that brings immediate impact to all members of our community. So I want to thank all of you, and on behalf of those officers and men, I want to recommit our efforts that we will continue in this trajectory, we will do more in the new year so that the public will have maximum impact from what we do. 2025 is indeed a year of history for us because we have reached a very critical junction in our operations, and it necessitates that we needed to move forward with the kind of modernization initiative that we have embarked upon. And the timeline that we are, the timing of it, it's very, very important because it aligns with our strategic transformation roadmaps and the commitments that we have given to all our stakeholders. I'm happy that the DCG has spoken about the advanced system developments brought about by the introduction of the Unified Customs System. Like I explained in PTML when we launched the pilot, we have been under service provisions for almost a decade by a service provider contracted by government. The service provision was under a contract for a period of time, and that expired. For some reasons, government, in its wisdom, find it necessary to extend that contract. And a number of other extensions were granted, and government felt at a time that that contract needed to be terminated. And a new concession agreement was signed between the federal government of Nigeria and a new service provider, TMP, Messrs. TMP. And while Messrs. TMP set to work, one of the early conversations that they had with us was, are we going to continue on NICES that we have used for decades, or are we going to introduce a new legacy system? Because of the history of frustration and dissatisfaction that we've had with NICES, we took that bold decision that we are going to start on a fresh note. We are going to develop a new system that will take care of all the challenges that we've had, all the frustrations that we've had with the previous systems for over almost 20 years. And that was why our officers working with the service providers started to develop a new system. And what we had was what we christened Bodogu. And I think we all need to understand how we came with a new concept that is inward-looking, that is indigenous, that reflects our aspiration to put at our border a very, very robust system, robust as Odogwu, visible as Odogwu, powerful as Odogwu, that can handle, so that has the resilience that can handle the complexity and the volume of international trade. That is why we coined that system, Odogwu at the border. The B stands for border, representing anything that you process within Nigerian border, and then you have Odogwu. So Bodogwu is the border at Odogwu. So I don't want us to start pronouncing it as an English acronym. It is African, it is Nigeria, it is Bodogwu. So when you pronounce it, don't call it B Odogwu. I've even had some very, very mischievous people saying that I named it after myself, that Bashir is the B. Those are some of the things that our enemies have said. So it is the border, is the Odogwu at the border. And so for now, let us learn to call it Bodogwu. So it is not B Odogwu or whatever, it is Bodogwu. So I felt I needed to make that explanation so that now, when you launch a project of this magnitude, we are not deceiving ourselves thinking that this is going to be a walk in the park. When we launched it at PTML, a relatively smaller command, we experienced a number of glitches. And they are not surprising. And as we experienced those glitches, we had a very, very strong and helpful implementation team that was on hand to address some of these challenges. Have we finished? Are we done with those challenges? I would say yes, I would say no. There are some of them that we have been able to address, but there are some that we carried that were still carrying over to this place. Are we going to wait until we completely finish addressing those issues before we deploy? We felt that the timelines that we had, is very tight, so we can begin the development and deployment of these systems in other places. And along the line, we would also be addressing the challenges that they raise. With your cooperation, with your support, with your understanding, we will together address all those challenges. I need to bring your memories back to sometimes in 2013, 2014, we walked this same route together with you. This is not the first time we are experiencing this kind of glitches when we are transitioning from one system to the other. When these same service providers decided to stall the implementation of PAR in 2013, these were the kind of problems that we had. But we stood together. We said we are going to confront those challenges together. And 2-3 months after, all the backlog of Form M that they use to create glitches into our systems, we were able to summon them. We were able to upload all of them into the new system that was also developed by the Nigeria Customs Service officers in conjunction with some partners at that time. And that was how we were able to overcome that problem. I want to believe that this time we are even standing stronger. And our spirit, our resolve to work together is even stronger than it was 10 years ago, because now you have one of your own as Controller General. And I believe that working together we will achieve this.
In line with efforts of the government to boost trade, the Nigerian Customs Service and the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, have agreed to foster partnerships designed to deploy technology-driven reforms within the country's supply chain, with a view to simplifying processes and promoting trade facilitation. Comptroller General of Customs Bashir Adewale Adeniyi, MFR, who gave this hint, reaffirmed the service's commitment to enhancing collaboration with the Apex Bank to facilitate trade in the country and boost revenue generation, a development that will benefit all Nigerians. Speaking in Abuja during a courtesy visit to the Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Olayemi Cardoso, CGC Adeniyi assured that the service under his watch is doing everything to simplify trade processes in the country through the use of technology and sought the partnership of the CBN.
Added to that is the NXP, so that if we are able to integrate the NXP into the Bodogu system, it makes it easier for us to be able to follow, rate time, exchange rates of exports. But then it's also important that the integration of the exchange rate API into the system as we are rolling out is also done, so that it becomes easier for us to be able to, make adjustments in the exchange rates.
According to him, the partnership aims to drive the full implementation of the Bodogu system, an indigenous trade facilitation platform developed by the NCS to replace the existing Nigerian Integrated Customs Information System, NICIS-2. Speaking on the project, he emphasized the importance of seamless integration between customs and financial institutions, particularly in automating foreign exchange transactions and trade-related payments.
4 or 5 months on, we've started, to deploy in some of the bigger ports, and these are the game-changing ports for us in terms of volumes and in terms of revenue that we expect. So we're at that pace and time now that we now need all our banks to be on board with us, so that they will be able to open from M in any of the banks, and then we'll be able to go and integrate the pre-arrival assessment system on the new Bodogu programs. So what we are asking for CBN is to give this partnership real meaning.
I also want to congratulate you really for the milestone achievements you've made in the relatively short space of time at Customs. And it has also made our own job relatively more seamless. And at the end of the day, I know the man on the street also is feeling the impact as a result of that. And to encourage you to say that, anytime you need us, we are ready to support. And to say that I think from our side, there should be a handshake that at any point in time, it may not need you to come to me. At that level, they should be able to coordinate together.
Adeniyi also highlighted bottlenecks in the current manual process, communicating prevailing exchange rates to the service by the Apex Bank for the purpose of duty collection. He appreciated the central bank's support and called for continued collaboration to ensure a smooth nationwide rollout of Bodogu.
You are watching the program Customs Report. The Ogun 1 Command of Nigerian Customs Service has officially handed over drugs worth millions of naira to NDL officials in Abeokuta in Ogun State.
The Nigerian Customs Service Ogun 1 Idiroko Command has continued to battle the menace of smuggling across the Ogun State border axis, reputed to be the nation's most notorious smuggling hotbed. Headed by Comptroller MS Shaibu as Customs Area Controller CAC, the command has continued to have a commanding stance against activities of the unscrupulous elements, with consistent bombardment and day-to-day seizures being recorded by officers and men of the command. The CAC gave the breakdown of the impounded items during the most recent seizures to include smuggled 2,145 foreign rice, an equivalent of over 4 trailers load, 612 bales of second-hand clothing, 843 pieces of used tires, as well as 6,625 liters of premium motor spirit PMS, which has been auctioned due to its combustible nature.
The command has continued to prioritize stakeholder engagement in line with the policy thrust of the Controller General of Customs, Bashir Adewale Adeniyi, MFR, PSC Daga. This approach is centered on collaboration with various partners, including our traditional institutions, to ensure compliance with trade laws and to foster a unified front in tackling smuggling. I must stress that our engagement with stakeholders is not merely for informational purposes, but also an opportunity to forge stronger partnership, enhance decision-making processes, and increase trust between customs and our critical stakeholders. The benefits are mutual, including the improvement of communication channels, economic growth, and strengthening national security. It is imperative that we continue to sensitize and educate the public on the pivotal role of the Nigerian Customs Service in fostering national security and economic stability. Alongside this, we will relentlessly enforce government policies in strict adherence to the law and international best practices. As many of you recall, from our last briefing, we declared our resolve to eradicate illegal trade in dangerous drugs and other contraband within our operational areas. Since that time, and within the past 2 weeks, our operatives have significantly increased their efforts to combat smuggling.
Meanwhile, Comptroller Shaibu had said that the command has continued to prioritize stakeholders' engagement in line with the policy thrust of the Comptroller General of Customs, Bashir Adewale Adeniyi, noting that it is imperative to continue to sensitize and educate the public on the pivotal role of the Nigerian Customs Service, NCS, in fostering national security and economic stability.
The items handed over reflect the ongoing efforts of the command to combat the distribution of illegal narcotics within the country, which pose significant threat to the health and safety of our citizens. These actions send a clear and unequivocal message to those who engage in illegal activities. The operatives of Ogun 1 will continue to carry out their statutory responsibility with dedication, ensuring that such illegal enterprise do not thrive in our area of responsibility. We will remain relentless in our fight against smugglers. Every tactics employed by criminals to circumvent security checks will be futile, as our intelligence network, systematic monitoring, and operational mechanism are robust and effective in identifying and tracking these economic saboteurs.
NDLA has a reliable and dependent ally in Nigerian Customs Service. And that was why our current CC, Brigadier General Mbuba Marwa, signed an MOU with Nigerian Customs Service for the purpose of synergy in the fight against drug abuse.
On the command's revenue collection mandate, Comptroller Shaibu said he is pleased to announce that the command under his watch has generated a total sum of 9,694,072 naira as revenue from baggage assessment and auction sales of premium motor spirit PMS. Customs operatives attached to the Federal Operations Unit FOU Zone A in Ikeja, in one single operation, intercepted a truckload of foreign parboiled rice totaling 445 bags of 50 kilograms each. Disclosing this to the media, the unit's area controller, CAC Controller Kola Oladeji, hinted that the interception took place earlier on the same day along Ijoun border community in Ogun State, and attributed the successful operation to intelligence reports gathered from stakeholders.
It was as a result of intelligence we received that some unscrupulous elements are planning to smuggle some prohibited items into the country. And we have not been relying on our effort to put a stoppage on smuggling activities in the entire border areas of the Southwest. As you are all aware, it paid us early this morning when our intelligence was able to translate to the arrest of this rice that you can see. It was a truck load. In fact, we were lucky. The terrain it took was difficult. Precisely coming in through Ijon border axis of Ogun State from Republic of Benin as usual. And we were able to evacuate them, though some of these hoodlums were there trying to be funny, but because we always observe our rules of engagement, especially when it comes to confrontation with the border communities.
According to him, the 445 bags of rice have been forfeited to the federal government, stating further that there was no record of casualty as the operation was not confrontational. Oladeji, however, expressed the unit's appreciation to the Comptroller General of Customs CGC Bashir Adewale Adeniyi and his management team.
And they will oblige us, do this way, do that way, and it always pays us. Especially my Comptroller General of Customs, Adewale Bashir Adeniyi, MFR PSC Daga, who has been up and doing, providing necessary logistics. Because if you don't have his support, his logistics, and his ear to listen to us, we can't be achieving all this. It's not possible. If we are talking of mobility, you can see our vehicles. We are talking of welfare, we are okay. So everybody, we are happy to be doing what we are doing. You will see that we are not looking as if we are fasting. And most of us are fasting. Because as we are living here, we are going back to the bush. That's the way we work. Because this is federal operation.
While acknowledging the cooperation and support of stakeholders as well as traditional rulers in the zone for assisting customs operations, the CAC admonished smugglers to embrace legitimate businesses and eschew illegal importation of foreign items like rice.
Just before I round up this week edition of the program Customs Report, we brought a report where the CG of Nigerian Customs Service has said that BOW will continue to generate more revenue for the country. For me, Egeseme Edinye, thanks for watching.